Hello and welcome. Tonight, the federal government promises to ensure that Nigerians in diaspora, especially those in the United States, Canada and the United Kingdom, enjoy seamless acquisition of their passports. The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, says with the activation of the automated application system, Nigerians will, as from October this year, acquire their passports without stress. The governor-elect of Edo State embarks on a thank you road tour around major streets in Benin City, the Edo State capital. Monday Okpebholo promises to fulfill his campaign promises to the people of Edo State. And the chairman of the PDP campaign council for the Edo governorship election, Governor Umaru Fintiri of Adamawa State, describes the outcome of the just concluded Edo governorship poll as unfortunate. He insists INEC failed to do the right thing and acted against the people's will.
On business news tonight, Central Bank of Nigeria extends suspension of deposit processing fees until March the 31st, 2025.
On sports news tonight, Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola confirms the reigning champions will miss the services of midfielder Rodri for the remainder of the season.
And from Abuja, the nation's capital, the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, hands over 8 more rescued girls trafficked to Ghana to the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP.
And in international news from London, the Israeli Prime Minister says his team will continue talks with the US over Washington's initiative for a ceasefire in Lebanon so that, he says, displaced Israelis will be able to return to their homes.
The federal government is promising to ensure that Nigerians in diaspora, especially those in the United States, Canada and the United Kingdom, enjoy seamless acquisition of their passports. The Minister of Interior, Mr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, gave the assurance while addressing a special news conference in Abuja to mark his first year in office. The minister says with the activation of the automated application system, Nigerians will, as from October this year, acquire their passports without stress.
Heads of agencies under the Ministry of Interior, media practitioners, and other stakeholders converge on the Ministry of Interior for a news conference by the minister to mark his first year in office. The clearance of all backlogs of pending passport is one of the areas the minister highlights as his achievement. However, he is working on the second phase of his plan for the seamless acquisition of passports by all Nigerians.
In order to be able to combat corruption, it's important that we reduce human contact as much as possible. And of course, people want to be in their homes. People want their passport offices to be on their phones. People want to be able to, you don't want to cancel a day's job to go to Gwagwalada, or you want to go to Kenja in Korea because you want to do passport. You want to be able to renew your passport. And that led us to what we call the contactless biometric solution.
The increase in the passport fees is also addressed by the minister.
Booklet is imported, which is dollar denominated. And at the time, and when you look at the dollar denominated, the conversion rate of the dollar, there is no way the old price wouldn't have led to subsidy. As a matter of fact, it was leading to subsidy. And we can't do that. That's why you realize that we didn't increase the price of the passport in diaspora, because the passport price in diaspora is dollar denominated.
On the suspension of some officials of the Nigerian Correctional Service over allegations of misconduct, the minister assures that all culprits will be sanctioned.
Be rest assured, please, let's be patient for investigations to be done, and be rest assured, nobody will be shielded and nobody will be protected. And also for you to know how determined we are. Of the 4 people we suspended yesterday, only 2 have to do with Bobrisky. The other 2, one is the in charge of Kuje, and the other one is a staff of Afipo in Leboi. It's not about Bobrisky. It's because now we have said zero tolerance to discipline in all our services.
The minister is optimistic that agencies under the ministry will continue to provide quality service delivery as he begins his second year in office.
The Federal Ministry of Youth Development is partnering the Presidential Initiative on Compressed Natural Gas to roll out over 2,000 CNG-powered tricycles to empower over 2,000 youth in Nigeria. In line with the interministerial briefing to mark the independence anniversary of the country, the Minister of State for Youth Development, Mr. Ayodele Olawande, briefed the media on this and other initiatives of the ministry. Our correspondent, Dele Omoyeni, reports.
As part of activities to mark the 64th independence anniversary, the federal government, through the Ministry of Youth Development, gives updates on the ministry's achievements. One of the efforts of the ministry led to the partnership with the Presidential Initiative on Compressed Natural Gas to empower over 2,000 youths with CNG-powered tricycles, which the minister says is in line with the President's Renewed Hope agenda.
By Tuesday, October 1st, we will be launching the first phase of a project to be distributing 2,000 CNG tricycles in collaboration with Presidential CNG and will be championed by the Ministry of Youth. And before the end of this year, the informal youth that we are much more to focus on this time around would work in the transportation sectors, while the initiative will ensure that the tricycle rider, who are mostly youth, 90% youth, will spend only 20% of their present spending on PMS. It would also provide their profit and general reductions of cost of transportation to their passengers.
The program coordinator of the PICNG reviews more initiatives designed to drive down the cost of transportation in the country.
Ministry of Youth and Tricycles is another opportunity. We'll be rolling out over 2,000 tricycles with them in the youth empowerment program that they will be involved with starting on Tuesday, on Independence Day. So for each of these three stations, Adavi, Ajaokuta, and Itakwe, we have committed to start with 100. So once we achieve the 100 conversions, the fare reduction takes place, and we are expecting that this 100 should be all should be done before the end of this October. So as we are speaking now, they're exchanging information about the vehicles. We need to inspect the vehicles. We need to evaluate the vehicles for conversion. But we are sure we get 100 among all those vehicles. And those vehicles will carry the PCNGI label. The people will know they are CNG vehicles. And these fares will be available on those vehicles.
The federal government is promising to ensure the continued empowerment of young people in the country. Dele Omoyeni, Channels Television News.
In politics, the governor-elect of Edo State, Monday Okwebolo, has assured residents that he will fulfill his campaign promises to the people, which is to bring development to the state. The governor-elect gave the assurance during a thank-you road tour around major streets in Benin City, the Edo State capital. Mr. Okwebolo, along with his deputy governor-elect, the reinstated deputy governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, Senator Adams Oshomole, and other leaders of the party arrived Benin City from Abuja today, following the collection of the certificate of return yesterday.
We are going to bring our hope back. Our lost
Meanwhile, the Adamawa State Governor Umar Fintiri has described the outcome of the just concluded Edo governorship election as unfortunate, insisting that the electoral umpire failed to do the right thing and acted against the people's will. Governor Fintiri lamented that INEC is yet to get the country's electoral process right, despite huge funding and several amendments to the Electoral Act. The governor made this disclosure shortly after he arrived Yola from the Edo governorship poll, where he worked as the chairman of the Edo PDP National Campaign Council.
Governor Morufintiri touched down at the Mustafa Aliyu International Airport in Yola amidst a heroic welcome from supporters and party members. The governor is returning to the state after chairing the People's Democratic Party Edo State Governorship Election National Campaign Council.
I only said, these results were your product. These results emerged from the process of the election. And you collected the result and you announced it at the local government level. So don't change it. And you discover that the 3 local governments that we did not mention in that announcement was where they went and rigged. It was a real deft strategic move to stop what they were wanted to do. And that is why they can send their social media dogs to attack me. I did not do anything contrary to the law of this country.
At a separate news conference, the state chairman of the People's Democratic Party speaks on the ongoing leadership tussle with the national chairman of the party.
The Adamawa State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, aligns with the position of the acting national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Ambassador Umar Ilyas Damagun. Former national chairman is from the north. Therefore, Senator Umar Ilyas Damagun, the Deputy National Chairman, Northern Zone, is the most qualified to serve out the tenure of the former national chairman.
The tussle around the national leadership of the People's Democratic Party has recently generated conversations among party members, with some insisting on the need for the party to have a substantive national chairman.
In part 2, after the break, the Vice President meets with United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres at the UN headquarters in New York. Vice President Kashim Shettima emphasizes on the urgent need for relief efforts to address the devastating effects of climate change and the urgent need for assistance in addressing the recent damages suffered by residents of Borno State in northeast Nigeria. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. The federal government promises to ensure that Nigerians in diaspora, especially those in the United States, Canada and the United Kingdom, enjoy seamless acquisition of their passports. Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunjojo says with the activation of the automated application system, Nigerians will, as from October this year, acquire their passports without stress. Governor-elect of Edo State embarks on a thank you road tour around major streets in Benin City, the Edo State capital. Monday Okwebolo promises to fulfill his campaign promises to the Edo people. And the chairman of the PDP Campaign Council for the Edo governorship poll, Governor Umar Fintiri of Adamawa State, describes the outcome of the just concluded Edo governorship poll as unfortunate, insists that INEC failed to do the right thing and acted against the people's will. Vice President Kashim Shettima has met with United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres at the UN headquarters in New York, where they discuss issues bordering on pressing issues of regional security, humanitarian relief, and Nigeria's role in international cooperation. The Vice President, who is representing President Bola Tinubu at the ongoing 79th session of the UN General Assembly, was welcomed to the UN building by the UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed, with whom he had a brief meeting following his discussion with the UN Secretary General. During the interactions, Vice President Shettima emphasized the urgent need for relief efforts to address the devastating effects of climate change and drew attention to the urgent need for assistance in addressing the recent damages suffered by residents of Borno State in northeast Nigeria. He acknowledged the efforts of the UN, calling for increased support in stabilizing the economic community of West African states region and implementing enduring coordinated relief plans for flood victims across Nigeria. On his part, the UN Secretary General, Mr. Gutierrez, expressed his condolences on the recent losses in Nigeria, pledging increased support from the global body. He said that the UN stands ready to enhance its interventions and support for Nigeria, even as he also commended President Bola Tinubu's leadership, stating that Nigeria is an indispensable ally in the UN's bid for a peaceful Africa. Meanwhile, Nigeria and MasterCard have announced a partnership aimed at supporting 1 million African farmers to improve yield and agricultural productivity. The project plan includes support for 1 million agricultural workers across Nigeria, Kenya and Tanzania, with a focus on enhancing financial inclusion and digital access to critical services, as well as support from the African Development Bank. According to the statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Stanley Nkwocha, the partnership deal was sealed during a meeting between Vice President Kashim Shettima and executives of MasterCard Corporation on the sidelines of the ongoing 79th session of the UN General Assembly in New York. Speaking during the meeting, Vice President Shettima, who is representing President Bola Tinubu at the annual global event, noted that the initiative has transformative potential for Africa's food security drive. Earlier, the Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, explained that the partnership will provide digital access to critical financial services for agricultural workers, which he said is expected to significantly boost productivity and economic growth in the sector. Also, the country manager for West Africa at MasterCard, Dr. Folashade Femi Lawal, said a key component of the partnership is the rollout of contactless payment systems. Back in Nigeria, the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NATI, has disclosed that outstanding collectible revenues due to the federal government and the oil and gas industry as of June this year have risen to over $6 billion and 66 billion naira. These figures were among crucial information and data contained in NATI's 2022-2023 Independent Oil and Gas Industry Report released today in Abuja. The report shows that the sums were for unpaid royalties and gas flare penalties due to the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission as collectible revenues by August the 31st this year. Our correspondent Delia Moyeni reports.
Regulators, industry players, civil society organizations and the media come together to witness the release of the 2023-2024 Oil and Gas Industry Report by the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation reaffirms the commitment of government to the principles of transparency in the extractive industry.
Revenue mobilization and public accountability. The chairman of the Native Board has stand before you today to underscore the federal government's respect for Natives' independence. While my role as chairperson is a testament to the importance the government places in Native, it also signifies the commitment to ensure the Native operates independently without interference as mandated by the 80 standard.
The Executive Secretary of NATI and the Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission list the gains of previous reports.
The report contains several key findings and recommendations. Many of them lie on recommendations on revenue leakages and what needs to be done, the need for improved compliance with regulatory frameworks and suggestions for increasing transparency in the operations.
As of yesterday, I still approve that over $1 billion should be remitted to the federal government recovery account as a result of the work of the last report of NATI.
However, some lawmakers frown at the huge unremitted funds.
So that is why I'm calling on the agencies that are relevant in implementing this report, both from the SGF office, from the EFCC, from the compliance unit of the state oil company to do much. Because you can't tell me that $6 billion, that's almost over 6-7 trillion naira. And we had that last year, and we had it the year before. And then we're also having increased subsidy payments and so on and so forth.
It will also help us in improving in the PIB bills, Petroleum Industry Act, because that supports transparency and accountability.
NATI is hoping that the report will spur the federal government to design a strategic implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act. Dili Omoyeni, Channels Television News.
So let's now head to the nation's capital, and Markwe Ogun Yusuf is standing by to tell us what's the latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Markwe.
Hello, Ayo. Well, we're starting off in Lagos, where you are, where the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, has taken custody of 8 more young girls who were trafficked to Ghana but have been rescued and brought back to Nigeria. The Chairman Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, Mrs. Abike Dabiri Erewa, received the young girls at the NIDCOM Annex Office and handed them over to NAPTIP to ensure that the girls have safe and comfortable accommodation pending their formal rehabilitation and reintegration with their families. The rescued girls, aged between 15 and 22, hail from various states across Nigeria, including Ebonyi, Akwa Ibom, Imo, Plateau, and Cross River, and were lured to Ghana under the false promise of employment, but were forced into sexual exploitation. She noted that there are still many more trafficked victims waiting to be rescued, and thanked the Ghanaian security agencies for their cooperation. Meanwhile, a 28-year-old Nigerian, Ms. Favor Ugu, one of the traffickers, has been arrested and jailed for 8 years in prison by the court in Ghana on account of human trafficking. In the northwest of the country, the Kebbi state government is appealing for help to deal with the enormity of flooding, which has ravaged farmlands and sacked several communities. The State Commissioner for Information and Culture, Alhaji Yakubu Ahmad, says so far a total of 329,000 houses have been destroyed by the disaster, while 858,000 hectares of farmland comprising crops such as rice, millet, guinea corn, sorghum, beans, and other varieties have either been washed away or submerged throughout the 21 local government areas of the state. Mr. Ahmad explains that the enormity of the flooding, consequent havoc caused, and level of mitigation required have overwhelmed the state government in spite of what it has put on the ground to provide succor to victims. According to him, preliminary statistics show that 7 persons died in Ngaski, 8 in Meyama, 5 in Kalgo, 7 in Jaga, and 2 in Burning Kebbi as a result of the flooding. Now back here in Abuja, following the House of Representatives' resolution to investigate allegations of bribery against the EFCC, the Joint Committees of the House has extended an invitation to the chairman of the Anti-Graft Agency, Mr. Ola Olukoide. In a letter dated September the 27th, the committee asked the EFCC chairman and the Controller General of the Nigeria Correctional Service to appear on Monday, September the 30th, with all officers involved in the allegation. The allegation of bribery against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and the Nigeria Correctional Service follows a trending social media voice conversation involving one Idris Okuneye, a cross-dresser sentenced earlier this year to 6 months in prison for the abuse of the naira. The trending voice conversation suggested that Mr. Idris, popularly known as Bobrisky, paid the sum of 15 million naira to operatives of the EFCC to drop charges of money laundering initially made against him, and that he spent time in a VIP facility instead of prison. The House Committee is also inviting Bobrisky and a social media influencer known as Very Dark Man, who released the voice recording. As October the 1st approaches, President Bola Tinubu today joined dignitaries who attended the special Independence Anniversary Jumat prayer held at the National Mosque here in Abuja. Former military head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, the National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak of Kwara State, the National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Ganduje, and some members of the Federal Executive Council, as well as traditional rulers, also participated in the special prayers. The Chief Imam of the National Mosque, Dr. Mohammed Kabir Adam, who led the prayers, sought for God's intervention in the challenges confronting the country. Still ahead on the news at 10, the Central Bank of Nigeria extends suspension of cash deposits processing fees until March the 31st, 2025. That's in business news. Please join us again. Welcome back. The immediate past head of civil service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemieson, has emphasized the critical role of divine intervention and collaborative partnerships in achieving successful reforms in the nation's civil service. Dr. Yemieson stated this while reflecting on her tenure at a send-forth dinner in Abuja organized by the Aigimokwede Foundation in her honor following her retirement from the service. The chairman of the Aigimokwede Foundation, Mr. Aiboje Aigimokwede, also spoke at the event as he shared a message from former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who praised Dr. Yemieson's dedication and commitment during her tenure.
One thing I can confidently say, our celebrant tonight, is that the civil service that I knew before you attained the office of head of service is a very different civil service today. I have worked very closely alongside Ofoe and the team with this team, including, of course, Dame Didi Esther Wilson-Jack as a permanent secretary and now as the head of service. And I can tell you that the difference is clear. We feel the difference. Nigeria feels the difference. It's now a grudging acceptability that, yes, it's changing.
He was the first, maybe the only one, to extend a hand of fellowship to partner with the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation. And I wish to state that his commitment to handhold the office was done without any personal or corporate interests, except the interest to see that the Nigeria public service is reformed and transformed.
Well, Nigeria certainly feels it when women are in charge. Well, that's all from the nation's capital. It's back now to you, Ayo.
Thank you so much, Markwe. September the 27th is celebrated annually as World Tourism Day and a time to mark the significance of tourism and the global, social, cultural and economic benefits it has. That's why MTN Nigeria has unveiled the See Niger campaign, a platform designed to promote the culture and unique diversity of Nigeria. The Chief Operating Officer of MTN Nigeria, A.M. Musa, says the Mobile Telecommunication Corporation wants Nigerians and the globe to embark on a journey through the enchanting landscapes from cascading waterfalls to rolling hills and vibrant woodlands.
It's a big day for MTN Nigeria as the leading telecommunications giant is playing host to government representatives, senior management staff of the company, partners, a host of entertainers and content creators. Nigeria boasts a rich tapestry of sights and sounds that captivate the senses, and the leadership of MTN says it wants the world to experience the unique and diverse attributes of Nigeria.
We as MTN, yes, we do telecommunication, but we stand for Africa. Africa is Nigeria. Nigeria is Africa. We stand for progress. We stand to show the world what great things are in Nigeria. And
the essence of seeing Nigeria today is to erase those negativity of Nigeria as a country, because we are our own brand. In short, every Nigerian is very unique. You travel anywhere, you can spot a Nigerian easily. The way we talk, the way we dress, the way we behave. Even in any program, we're not the ones that are silent. You can't even silence us because we want to express who we are.
And what is Nigeria's culture without some dance, drama, and rhythmic beats? Nigeria's diverse culture and natural beauty offer an enchanting journey for travelers and locals alike, and Nigerians can seamlessly participate in this campaign.
I
anyone to join the See Nigeria Challenge, all you need to do is simply upload a 2-minute video, showcasing the beauty of Nigeria, whether it's the sights, sound, food, anything that you think you can showcase to the world that is beautiful. Post it on any of your social media platforms, whether it's your Facebook, Instagram, X, and also ensure that you post it on our portal. Upload it there, tag at MTN Energy, and ensure you use the hashtag #CNigeria with MTN.
What this will do is it will create more opportunities for people to actually, expand their businesses on their own. We're not doing this for money. We're just trying to create a platform where people will know that, our dresses, are things that people should buy. Our leather are things that people should buy.
The MTNC Nigeria campaign says it will stay committed to changing the narrative by projecting Nigeria's diverse cultures, traditions, and a rich history, while beckoning the world to delve into its depths.
Stanbic IBTC Bank, one of Nigeria's leading financial institutions, has held this year's Sustainable Finance Summit, where it played host to industry players, relevant professionals, including the Lagos Business School, in preferring solutions to challenges associated with sustainable finance. Contributors at the one-day meet took the opportunity to give guidance on how best to balance profit and ensure a workable environment for all.
I always mention that ESG is a mindset. This is Stanbic IBTC Bank's 2024 Sustainable Finance Summit holding at the bank's corporate headquarters in Lagos. A new framework comes with required getting data. Top executives of the bank as well as others from the academia are here to rub minds on how to bring about best approaches to viable funds.
At Stanbic IBTC, we believe that the financial institutions play a crucial role in driving sustainable development. Our commitment to sustainability is reflected in one of our recent initiatives, Sustainable Finance Framework.
We are confident this summit will deliver strong financial solutions that will enable a robust, sustainable financial architecture for Nigeria and the continent at large.
After introductory remarks, the event goes into panel sessions where insights on balancing profitability, environment, social and governance issues were dealt with.
How do we support hard-to-abate sectors that have historically and will continue to historically emit large amounts of carbon, but which is actually substantially needed again on the continent for our development?
Create a place where we can have conversation, not only having conversation, bringing in the right people into the room, policy advocacy with government and encouraging government to have the right policies.
We're very deliberate, in looking out for a diverse workforce. Bring them into the organization where people, irrespective of your background, your age, your ethnic group, your religion, it doesn't really matter to us.
The bank says it will continue to craft long-term stakeholder value through business strategies that focus on the environmental, social and economic dimensions of doing business.
The most important thing is that we want to make positive impact rather than, just making profit at the expense of the society.
They have instituted policies that create the procedures for us to follow.
As one of Nigeria's leading financial institutions, Stanbic IBTC Bank says its vision is to continue to provide a corporate culture where environmental sustainability principles are adhered to in its operating space and a commitment to deliver excellent financial products.
And now let's find out what's happening in the world of business with Will Ebong. Will.
Thank you, Ayotunde. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has extended the suspension of cash deposit processing fees until March the 31st, 2025. This move pushes the previous deadline from September 30, 2024, allowing banks to continue accepting large deposits without additional charges. The suspension affects deposits exceeding 500,000 naira for individuals and 3 million naira for corporate accounts. The fees, which are normally 2% for individuals and 3% for corporates, remain on hold during this period. The policy was first introduced by the CBN in 2019 in an effort to manage cash flow and enhance government revenue collection. The Lagos State government has created a replica of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee to curb the complaints of multiple taxation as well as widen the tax net in the state. The special advisor to the governor on taxation and revenue, Mr. Abdul Kadir Ogumba, says the process is ongoing. We head to the local bourse where it closed the final trading session in the red as profit-taking sets in. John Mekwa tells us more.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, the bearish sentiment that started at the NGX on Thursday has been sustained to the close of trade on Friday. And so we see 37 billion naira shaved off the market cap, but we're retaining that 56 trillion naira. We're also still retaining the 98,000 level, which we recovered this week, even though the all share dropped 0.07%. Major drivers of this red market today is the banking. FBN holding just about 24 hours after it's now public knowledge that Mr. Femi Otedola is a major stakeholder there. We see profit taken on that stock as well as Zenith Bank. So the counter is down 0.38%. Consumer goods is even worse than that, 0.81%. And that's because of international breweries and Unilever. Now, oil and gas is shining through today, recovering from yesterday's losses. And the same two stocks, Japan Gold and O&O, they drove the market to this. We look at top trades and we expect, of course, that Japan Gold will be in that set. So we see Japan Gold today, 591 million in volume of trade. UBA also followed, but you know that's in the negative 27 million, as well as Zenith Bank driving the financial counter down at the close of trade. So we head to the weekend today with the bear.
And that's a wrap on business. It's back to Ayotunde for the rest of the news at 10.
Many thanks, Will. Lebanon's Prime Minister Najib Mikati says the latest strikes on Beirut show Israel does not care about efforts to bring forth a ceasefire. Mr. Mikati made this known today at the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Here's Simon Pusey with more on this and other international news in Around the World on 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says his team will continue talks with the US over Washington's initiative for a ceasefire in Lebanon so that, he says, displaced Israelis will be able to return to their homes. Here, smoke seen rising over southern Lebanese city of Tyre. And here, before and after images showing the scale of the destruction of Israeli bombing. Lebanese officials say more than 700 people have been killed in Israeli strikes since Monday. They have been fighting back, though. Here, the so-called Iron Dome intercepting rockets over Israel's Haifa. The Biden administration is reportedly angry from what they see as Netanyahu's U-turn on Thursday. Officials said they had been given his assent to a truce, but he changed his mind. Meanwhile, the UK Prime Minister has told the United Nations General Assembly in New York that the Israel-Hezbollah conflict could spill over into a war no one can control.
We need to see an immediate ceasefire to provide space for a diplomatic settlement. And we are working with all partners to that end. Because further escalation serves no one. It offers nothing but more suffering for innocent people on all sides.
New York's City Mayor Eric Adams is due to be arraigned in a federal courthouse to face 5 counts of criminal offenses, including bribery, wire fraud, and soliciting illegal foreign campaign donations. An indictment unveiled on Thursday alleges Mr. Adams sought and accepted illegal campaign funds and over $100,000 in luxury travel benefits from Turkish businessmen and an official seeking to gain his influence. The 64-year-old is a former police officer who was elected to lead the most populous U.S. city nearly 3 years ago on a promise to be tough on crime. The mayor has denied any wrongdoing and rejected growing calls for his resignation.
We are not surprised. We expected this. This is not surprising to us at all.
Donald Trump has agreed to a last-minute meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky, despite repeatedly criticizing him on the U.S. campaign trail.
President Zelensky has asked to meet with me, and I will be meeting with him tomorrow morning at around 9:45.
The Republican presidential nominee told a news conference that the Ukrainian leader will visit Trump Tower just days after Trump criticized him for refusing to make a deal with Moscow. The former U.S. president appears to have changed his mind after earlier reports from his campaign said a meeting between the two was extremely unlikely. Japan's ruling party has elected Shigeru Ishiba as its new leader, positioning the political veteran as the next Prime Minister of Japan. 9 candidates contested the leadership of the conservative Liberal Democratic Party, which has ruled Japan for most of the post-war era, after Prime Minister Fumio Kishida announced last month that he would not stand for re-election. Whoever is named the new chief of the Liberal Democratic Party will become Prime Minister, since the LDP has a parliamentary majority. The change of guard comes at a turbulent time for the party, which has been rocked by scandals and internal conflicts that disbanded its once powerful factions. Hurricane Helene has roared ashore Florida's Big Bend region as one of the most powerful storms to ever hit the United States. Officials fear the hurricane will leave a trail of deaths and widespread destruction as it moves inland. At least one fatality in Florida was blamed on the hurricane so far. The storm is one of the biggest ever to hit the Gulf Coast, with wind gusts of up to 140 miles per hour. Helene is tied as the 14th most powerful hurricane to hit anywhere in the United States since records began, and is the 7th most powerful to slam into Florida. That's according to data from the National Hurricane Center. And a massive sinkhole has emerged in Japan's Hiroshima city, forcing locals to evacuate and affecting nearby infrastructure. The sinkhole measured some 40 meters long and 15 meters wide after a water pipe burst near an intersection at the site. Residents were temporarily evacuated after 8 buildings began to lean and crack. Hiroshima city officials said the sinkhole emerged when workers carried out underground drilling works to build a storm drain. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Nigeria's men under-20 team, the Flying Eagles, will face tough challenge in the Group B of the 2024 Under-20 WAFU B Championship that will serve as qualifier for next year's CAF Under-20 African Cup of Nations holding in South Africa. The Flying Eagles will face regional powerhouses Burkina Faso and Cote d'Ivoire. Group A parades host Togo, Niger, Ghana, and Benin. The top 2 teams from each group will progress to the semi-finals of the tournament. Now it's official. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has confirmed midfielder Rodri will miss the rest of the season after rupturing his anterior cruciate in a big blow to his team's quest for a 5th consecutive Premier League title. Rodri underwent surgery for the injury earlier today. He injured his right knee during the team's 2-2 draw with Arsenal in the Premier League on Sunday, September the 22nd.
Got surgery this morning, ACL and some meniscus, something, so next season will be here. Yeah, unfortunately got the worst, but it's what it is. In that level, sometimes unfortunately happen. We are there to support him, and good recovery step by step and move forward.
Billie Jean King has been awarded a Congressional Gold Medal, becoming the first individual female athlete to receive the honor. President Joe Biden signed the legislation into law on Thursday, recognizing King's groundbreaking contributions both on and off the court. The 80-year-old has long been a trailblazer for gender equality in sports and society, and her relentless advocacy for equal pay in tennis led to the U.S. Open becoming the first Grand Slam tournament to offer men and women equal prize in 1973, which cemented her legacy as a champion of women's rights. And the world governing body of cycling have confirmed Swiss rider Moria Fora has died from injuries sustained in a crash during the junior women's road race at World Championship in Zurich. The 18-year-old fell heavily on Thursday and was airlifted to a hospital by a helicopter with serious head injuries and was in a critical condition before her death. That's it on sports. Back to you, Ayo.
Many thanks, Chris. And the main news again. The Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NATI, has said that the outstanding collectible revenues due to the federal government and the oil and gas industry as of June this year has risen to over $6 billion and 66 billion naira. The governor-elect of Edo State has embarked on a thank-you road tour around major streets in Benin City, the Edo State capital. Monday Okpebolo promised to fulfill his campaign promises to the Edo people. And the chairman of the PDP Campaign Council for the Edo governorship poll, Governor Umar Fintiri of Adamawa State, has described the outcome of the just concluded Edo election as unfortunate, insisting that INEC failed to do the right thing and acted against the people's will. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. Have a great weekend and please stay safe.